Alright, let us start our today's class. Okay, this is the first video for chapter 3, that is metals and non-metals, and in the row it is the ninth video. The first 4 videos I had made for chapter 1, then next 4 videos for chapter 2, and this the ninth video is for chapter 3 part 1. Okay, so here we will see a lot of things. Okay, and also some concepts of class 9th and 8th will come here. Okay, which I hope you already have memorized very well. If not, we will discuss again. Fine. In class 9th you have learnt about various elements. Okay, you have seen that elements can be classified as metals or non-metals on the basis of their properties. Okay, and because you are in class 10th now, and you might have started preparations for NEET exam or J exam. Okay, so I request you all to please, for class 10th, memorize the elements from atomic number 1 to 27. Okay, and if you wish to write the NEET exam or J exam, please memorize the atomic number and mass number from atomic number 1 to number 54. Okay, and some other elements also, okay, which will always come in your exams. Okay, because in exam the atomic numbers, the mass numbers, number of electrons, protons, neutrons, and then mass of electrons, protons, neutrons, charges on that will not be given. Okay, only the question will be given, and you have to bring up all the datas, okay, which is needed there. Fine. So in class 9th you have studied a lot of things about metals and non-metals. Okay, then how to classify them. Okay, let me say you one more thing, that now please purchase from market periodic table. Okay, and stick to your study table or in front of the study table, so that whenever you get time you will have a look on it. Okay, because it is too much important for you now. Okay, now coming to the text, think of some usage of metals and non-metals in your daily life. Okay, and in class 9th we have seen that what are metals and what are non-metals. Okay, and then there are some elements which are kept in the category of semi-metals, which are neither metals nor metals, but not non-metals, but they have some properties of both. Fine. What properties did you think of while categorizing elements as metals and non-metals? Means if suppose you have to separate in a group of elements, you have to separate metals and non-metals, what properties you will choose first? Okay, and then how better you can separate them among the group of metals and non-metals? How are these properties related to the usage of these elements? Okay, based on the properties also it is divided into the uses. Okay, then let us have a look on some different physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, this is just the coming up once again of standard 9th science. Alright, physical properties, section 3.1.1, metals. The easiest way to start grouping substances is by comparing their physical properties. Okay, means if suppose you have to group substances differently. Okay, first of all you have to pick them up with their physical properties. Let us study this with the help of following activity. For activities 3.1 to 3.6, collect the samples of following metals: iron, copper, aluminium, magnesium, sodium, lead, zinc, and any other metal that is easily available near and around you. Okay, so let me recall once again the symbol of all these. For iron, Fe, copper, Cu, aluminium, Al, magnesium, Mg, sodium, Na, lead, Pb, zinc, Zn. Okay, and a lot of other elements we will see when it will come in the chapter. Activity 3.1. Take samples of iron, copper, aluminium and magnesium and note the appearance of each sample. Means how do they look? Okay, how is their surface? Okay, when you touch it, when you smell it, when you look at it, okay, how does it appear? Clean the surface of each sample by rubbing them with sandpaper and note their appearance again. Okay, so when you clean the upper surface, okay, what will happen there is, if there is any stain or rust stick to its upper surface, it will come out. Okay, and then it will show a different color. Metals in their pure state have a shining surface. This property is called metallic luster. Okay, every metal in its pure form will always have a dazzling surface. Okay, the surface will be very shining. Activity 3.2. Take small pieces of some elements like iron, copper, aluminium and magnesium. Try to cut these metals with a sharp knife and note your observations. Okay, so among these among these four elements, okay, which one is easier for you to cut and which one is very tough? Hold a piece of sodium metal with a pair of tongs always, because sodium is very active, and when it comes in contact with air and heat is provided, it starts burning. Okay, a caution is also given here. Always handle sodium metal with care. Dry it by pressing between the folds of a filter paper. Okay, in anyhow it should not come in contact with water vapor or liquid water. Okay, put it on watch glass and try to cut it with knife. All right, and what do you observe here? Okay, you will find that metals are generally hard. The hardness varies from metal to metal. Okay, all right. Now doing activity 3.3. Take pieces of iron, zinc, lead and copper. Place any one metal on a block of iron and strike it 4 or 5 times with a hammer. What do you observe? You will observe that different elements, okay, here, while applying same pressure on it, okay, same force on it, they will bulge in shape. Some will bulge in lesser and some will bulge in more. Okay, so some are of less strength, some are of higher strength. Repeat this with other metals also. Record your change in the shape of these metals. The shape of these metals will change. The one which is very hard will change very less, and the one which is soft will change the highest. Okay, you will find that some metals can be beaten into thin sheets. Okay, thin sheets means we can make plates of it. This property is called malleability of the elements, or simply malleability. Did you know that gold and silver are the most malleable metals? They are so malleable that we can make sheets of gold and silver even thickness lesser than 0.004 millimeter. Okay, and that is very less. Okay, then activity 3.4. Consider some metals such as iron, copper, aluminium, lead, etc. Okay, which of the above metals are also available in the form of wires? Okay, we know very well that copper is widely used as wires. Aluminium also, but not like copper. Iron wires are also available. Okay, but lead wires are not available. Why? Because lead is not a good conductor of electricity. On the other hand, iron, aluminium and copper are very good conductors of electricity. That is why they are available in the form of wires. Okay, because this property is also called as ductility. Ductility of an element is the property by which it can be drawn into thin wires. Okay, gold is the most ductile metal because 1 gram of gold can be drawn into 2 kilometer long of length of wire. Okay, it is because of their malleability and ductility that metals can be given different shapes according to our needs, according to our wishes. Can you name some metals that are used for making cooking vessels? Yes, we use copper, we use steel, but that is not a metal, that is an alloy, okay, of iron. Then we use brass, but that is also not a metal, that is an alloy. Okay, so while making a vessel, what are the things needed? Okay, what are the properties needed by us? Okay, the first thing is it should be hard. Okay, then it should exchange heat very fastly. That means it should be a good conductor of heat. Okay, and some other properties also which we will see in further topics. Do you know why these metals are used for making vessels? Okay, like copper, iron. Okay, why do we use those metals for making vessels? Let us do the following activities to find out the answer. Take an aluminium or copper wire, clamp this wire on a stand as shown in figure 3.1. So here you can see a stand is here, okay, and with the help of a clamp, a wire made of copper or aluminium is fitted here, okay, and it is being heated, okay. Then what you will see is, as the time will pass, heat will flow equally in both directions from the place where it is being heated, okay. In this experiment, what we will do is, we have to take a metallic rod or metallic wire, okay, and then we have to heat it. Before heating it, we have to stick it at the end one pin with the help of wax. As the heat will flow, after some time the wax will melt and the pin will fall down, okay. But if you measure the time taken by the heat to reach to the pin, which is at equal distance in every experiment, okay, with every different metal, you will see that suppose in T minutes heat reaches from this position of heating to the end position, okay, in copper rod, then it may be T plus del x or T minus del x time will be taken in case of aluminium, okay, which shows here that different metals have different time to make the heat pass through it, okay. The above activity shows that metals are good conductors of heat and have high melting points, okay. The best conductors of heat are silver and copper, again here, okay. Lead and mercury are comparatively poor conductors of heat. Do metals also conduct electricity? Yes. Let us find out how is it given, okay. So to do this activity 3.6, what are the things we need is a battery, okay, then 3 clips, okay, sorry, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 clips, a bulb, okay, and switch and connecting wires, okay. Take small strips of different metals like iron, copper, nickel, PVC, like plastic, okay, rubber, and fix those things one by one at the position between A and B, okay. When the switch will on, okay, and the clips are connected with the metals, okay, with the things which you have chosen, which you have selected, okay, if the bulb will glow, that means that the material is able to pass current through it, pass electricity through it. If the bulb will not glow, that means that material is a bad conductor of electricity. Suppose if between clip A and B, if you fix it with a copper strip or copper wire, okay, or a block of copper, the bulb will glow when it is switched on, okay. And if you fix here a PVC pipe or a rubber like material, the bulb will not glow, okay, when we switch it on. That means that PVC pipe or rubber like material are not conductors of heat, but on the other hand, iron, copper, okay, gold, silver, they are the very good conductors of electricity. Aluminium also. What happens when metals strike a hard surface? It gives a special type of sound. Do they produce sound? Yes. The metals that produce a sound on striking a hard surface are said to be sonorous, okay. Can you now say why your school bells are made of metals? Yes, because it is highly sonorous, and always, okay, a special type of bells are made and it gives the same type of sound everywhere. Now non-metals, studying about non-metals, section 312. In the previous class you have learned that there are very few of non-metals as compared to metals. Means in your chemistry paper in class 9th, if you have studied, if you remember, you might remember that the number of non-metals are lesser than that of metals. Some of examples of non-metals are carbon, sulfur, iodine, oxygen, hydrogen, etc. The non-metals are either solids or gaseous except bromine, which is liquid at room temperature, okay. Bromine is the only non-metal which is liquid at room temperature, okay. In the comment section of this video, you have to write which metal is available in liquid temperature, which metal is available as liquid in room temperature. So in comment section, please comment it. Do non-metals also have physical properties similar to that of metals? Let us find out with some different activities. Activity 3.7. Collect samples of carbon, okay. If you have difficulty in finding what really the carbon is, okay, just take coal or graphite because it is the form of carbon, okay. Then sulfur and iodine, okay. Iodine is easily available in chemist labs, okay, or in chemist shops, okay. Carry out the activities 3.1 to 3.6 with these non-metals and record the observations, whether they are good conductors of heat, whether they are good conductors of electricity, okay. When we hammer it, whether they withstand that pressure and force, or will they break, okay. Then while smashing it with hard surface, will they give a special type of sound, okay. Can we draw them in wires, can we make them sheets, and these types of activities we have to do the same thing which we have done for metals, and fill that in this table 3.1. On the basis of observations recorded in table 3.1, discuss the general physical properties of metals and non-metals in the class, okay. That what are your conclusions, discuss that with your friends and show that to your teacher for further correction. Discuss the general physical properties of metals and non-metals in the class. You must have concluded that we cannot group elements according to their physical properties alone, but we have to combine their chemical properties also, because there are some exceptions also, okay. Like all metals except mercury exists as solid at room temperature. So the question which I have asked you, the answer is already given here. Mercury is liquid at room temperature, and it is the only metal, okay, to have that property. In activity 3.5, we have observed that metals have high melting point, but gallium is a metal, gallium and cesium, which have very less melting point, okay. If you put them on your palm, it will start melting. It is just like when you put coconut oil, freezed coconut oil in your palm, it starts melting by absorbing the heat from your palm. Likewise, when you put a small block of gallium and cesium in your palm, it will absorb heat from your palm and will start melting at very less temperature, okay. Iodine is a non-metal, but it is lustrous, okay, like metals. It is an exception. Carbon is a non-metal that can exist in different forms, like graphite, okay, like coal, like diamond, like Buckminster Fullerene. Each form is called an allotrope. So when we say about diamonds and graphite, okay, or coal, they are the allotropes of each other. Where was I? Diamond, an allotrope of carbon, is the hardest natural substance known and has very high melting point, okay, and boiling point. On the other hand, graphite, the another form of carbon or the allotrope, is a conductor of electricity, okay. Graphite and diamond both are forms of carbon, but diamond is a bad conductor of electricity. On the other hand, graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Diamond is a bad conductor of heat, but graphite is a good conductor of heat, okay. Diamond is very hard, but graphite is soft, okay. In that situation, it will become very difficult for us to separate metals and non-metals only by its physical property, okay. So we have to see some other properties also. Alkali metals like lithium, sodium and potassium are so soft that they can be cut with a knife. Even though they are metals, they are soft and we can easily cut them with the help of knife. They have very low density and low melting points. Elements can be more clearly classified as metals and non-metals on the basis of their chemical properties, okay. Now coming to activity 3.8. Take a magnesium ribbon and some sulfur powder. Burn the magnesium ribbon, okay. Whenever chemistry comes, this thing always happens. Burn the magnesium ribbon, burn the magnesium ribbon, okay. The starting of the book itself is the burning of magnesium ribbon. Collect the ashes formed and dissolve them in water. Means you have to burn sulfur powder and collect its ash, okay. Likewise, you have to burn magnesium ribbon and collect its ash. Magnesium after burning will give you magnesium oxide. Likewise, sulfur after burning will give you sulfur dioxide, okay. And we have to dissolve them separately in water. Test the resultant solution with both red litmus paper and blue litmus paper. Is the product found in burning magnesium acidic or basic? Means whether the solution of magnesium oxide and water okay, has converted blue to red or red to blue litmus, okay, paper. Is the product formed in burning magnesium also is acidic or basic? Now burn sulfur powder. Place a test tube over the burning sulfur to collect the fumes produced. Add some water to the above test tube and shake it well, and then test the solution with the help of red litmus paper and blue litmus paper. Okay. Now, is the product formed on burning sulfur acidic or basic? Okay. Can you write the question for these reactions? Okay. Yes, you can write now, because about these things we already have studied in unit 1 and 2. Most non-metals produce acidic oxides when dissolved in water. Okay. Always remember, not all, but most of the non-metals, when they are dissolved in water, they gives out acidic oxides. Okay. On other hand, most metals, when they burn and the acid is dissolved into water, okay, they give basic oxides. You will be learning more about these metal oxides in next section. Okay, so this is all about the basics of unit 3, chapter 3. Okay, we just have seen here how to separate metals from non-metals. Okay, and what are the behaviors we have to choose while we have to separate them. Okay, then in our next video we will study section 3.2, chemical properties of metal. Okay, so keep watching my channel Pratik Singh Classes, and please I am requesting to all of you, subscribe it now and share it among your friends. Okay, the questionnaire will happen on every Sunday, okay, in evening. If any person asks any question in the comment section, I will try to answer all how much ever is possible within 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, the best innovative question, the person who will ask the best innovative question will get a goodie from me, from this channel. Okay, while you are asking the question, while you are typing the question, mention your name, your place of living and your school's name, so that I will say that in the next questionnaire video. Till my next video, that is of section 3.2, chemical properties of metals. Take care of yourself. Keep watching Pratik Singh Classes. Do subscribe it now. Bye bye.